Yo, what's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and today we are taking a look at projected top 10 overall draft pick Matvei Michkov. This guy's kind of an interesting guy. He's 2004 born, late 2004. He's from Perm, Russia, and is a guy that was expected to go top 3. Going into this year, after last year's NHL Draft, looking ahead to this year, it was going to be really down to Bedard and Michkov at number 1 and 2. It seems like there's been a little bit more competition beyond Bedard, and Michkov might have some competition. There's a couple of factors, maybe why Michkov might fall in this year's draft, and we're going to go over probably the biggest reason why teams are going to look stupid for not selecting him in a couple of years, and we're going to go over that today. So Matvei Michkov is, like I said, he's a Russian sniper goal scorer. And when you look at his stats this year, again, you have to remember it is the KHL. So when you look at his numbers, they might not look as good as some of these other guys that are playing in college or the Canadian Hockey League and in the junior leagues. But his numbers are still impressive when you look at it. In the VHL, which is kind of the AHL of Russia, he has 14 points. He's got 10 goals and 10 goals in 12 games and 14 points. So he's got 4 assists in those 12 games. He's got over a point per game in the VHL. Then you go to the KHL. He only played 3 games in the KHL with SKA St. Petersburg. But probably the biggest flaw with what you're looking at in Michkov, and again, this is a factor that maybe doesn't even matter at some point, but it's the same thing we've heard for plenty of Russian players in the past. Vladimir Tarasenko fell in the draft because of this reason. Evgeny Kuznetsov fell in the draft because of this reason. And that reason is he's got a KHL contract. There's a guy that is under contract in the KHL, the Continental Hockey League in Russia, until I believe it's 2026. So with that there, it's going to be very difficult for him to move to North America and play in the States or Canada. So at the earliest you're looking at is 2026, 2027 for Michkov to come to North America and be a part of your NHL franchise, which a lot of teams that are drafting in the top 10, especially if it's a top 5 pick, they want to see this guy as soon as possible. So unless it's one of those situations where like the 15th or 16th team moves up from maybe just on the brink of making a wild card spot and getting the 2nd or 3rd overall pick, and they have the patience to wait that out till 2026, 2027, no teams are going to maybe select him in the top 5 because they want a guy that's ready to come into the NHL, come into training camp this fall, if not at the very least next fall. And neither of those scenarios are going to be the case for Matvei Michkov. You're going to need a lot of patience for this guy. But we've seen it plenty of times before where GMs that didn't take Tarasenko, that didn't take guys like Kuznetsov in the first round or earlier on in the draft, they ended up looking silly. And it's kind of funny how things have come full circle. The Rangers back in the day at one point selected Dylan McIlrath with a top 10 pick over Vladimir Tarasenko. And what was a major cause? Of course, the size of Dylan McIlrath was a factor for the Rangers, but it was the fact that they weren't going to see Tarasenko for a couple years as he was under contract in the KHL. So one of the teams out there that is willing to take a chance on Michkov, willing to wait him out, is going to see some good results from that. And like I said, his numbers in HK Sochi, which he's currently on loan for, he's got 20 points in 27 games. He's got 9 goals in those 27 games. And again, KHL stats, that's actually pretty good in the KHL. So this is a guy that's producing on a team that isn't even very good in HK Sochi. So if he can continue to put up these numbers, he's maybe a little bit less in the spotlight as, a guy that's been a big riser here in Leo Carlsson. Of course, the next generational talent, the next Connor, and Connor Bedard. It seems like a lot of the limelight has kind of gone away from Michkov, which could be a good thing for him long term. But I think, again, because of his contract taking him until 2026, that seems to be his biggest flaw at this point. And you want to talk about a guy that's potentially the next Alexander Ovechkin. Again, that's a big tag to give him. but that has been thrown out there. And this is a guy that has the potential, if he goes to the right team, if he continues to develop on the pace that he has at this point, right? I want to preface that he has to continue to develop. This is a guy that's going to be a very good NHL player at the National Hockey League level. And I know I kind of said like his biggest flaw, but really it comes down to something that's really at this point out of his control, which is his, geopolitics, which he is in Russia. And of course the other factor, which is he's got a contract that keeps him away from North America and playing in North America for an NHL team for the next 2 or 3 years, which is going to take some patience on the part of the team that drafts him. But I think long term, it'll be worth it. And like I said, recently we've seen a guy like Kirill Kaprizov, who's one of the best players in the NHL right now. That took a while for the Wild to get him into Minnesota, but I think most of those fans are happy that they took the wait, that they took the patience, and that's a guy they drafted in the 4th round. We've seen this with other guys too. Igor Shesterkin of the Rangers, I think, was a 4th round pick. Ilya Sorokin of the Islanders, 4th round pick. Ilya Samsonov back in the day of the Capitals, he was a 4th round pick, now playing for the Leafs as a starting goaltender. Again, goaltenders are a little different, but you get what I'm saying. These Russian guys, there's no guarantee that they come over. More likely than not, though, they get to a point where they want to come to North America. They want to play in the best league in the NHL, in the world, right? That competitive nature, that competitive side takes over these guys. Let's be honest, the money's usually there as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Where would you guys think Matvei Michkov could be the best fit in terms of an NHL team right now in the bottom 10, maybe a non-playoff team, right? Maybe one of those other teams. Is he a good fit for Florida? I'm sure the Florida Panthers wouldn't mind having a guy like that alongside Anton Lundell and Grigory Denisenko in the future, and kind of see how things play out. And if you have any other ideas for teams that Matvei Michkov could be a really good fit for, let me know those thoughts down below. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys again next time.